All right, hello world, and welcome back to another episode of the With That Being Said podcast, brought to you by the Brothers Blue. This is episode number 28, and today we've got kind of a fun topic to talk about because we're going to talk about food. And so we're going to talk about some negative things. To get us started, because there are a couple of things that I think that we are detrimental about when it comes to our food and America's food and stuff like that. Um, but then we're also going to talk about the positive things and the things that we like about the way we are able to take advantage of America's food system. And so, with that being said, that's Brother Kyle.
And that is Brother Cody. And I'll try not to use the trigger word too much, but the first point that we're going to get to is the idea that our food system, like here in America, has ultimately been ruined by capitalism or late capitalism. But that goes into the whole deregulation thing, which is something I hope we'll expand upon. But before you do, I want to sort of lay a framework because of this like misconception of deregulation that like if you deregulate, then it like this free market will emerge where everybody sells the labor of their goods and services to their own free will. But really, what happens when you deregulate is corporations are able to essentially act with impunity towards their profit motive. So
Correct.
again, this is late capitalism, and it's like, I'm sorry, but that's just what it is.
Right. And so the thing is when it comes to deregulation is people don't think about how. So what really happens under deregulation is exploitation.
Yeah.
And so what it is the companies, the corporations are able to exploit people, labor, this, that, and the other, whatever it needs to be exploited in order to maximize that profit. Because again, every industry is trying to do is make a profit, and that's the system that we're in. And until we get out of that system, whether it's food, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, it doesn't matter, because if we deregulate it to a certain point, then all we're going to see is exploitation.
Yeah. And so just to be historical about it, like you said, it goes back to the 80s with specifically Ronald Reagan, like the big deregulator.
Right.
So, yeah. The other point that was wrapped up in this was the concept of big farming, and that is, again, I think something that you might know a little bit more about than me.
No, and the thing about it is, it's just the scale to which our agriculture system is, and like we're one of the main providers of soy. Wait, not
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
to China. And
Yes,
like,
I'm glad you're
how's that
bringing
work?
that up. I'm glad you brought that up because I think about that
Yes,
all the time.
soybeans.
We like 60. Yeah, I'm not going to get the numbers right at all, so I
Right.
won't even try. But I do know that a large part of our agricultural output is soy that we sell directly to China.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is like we have these large scale things when it comes to like everything, whether it's strawberries, romaine lettuce, bananas, oranges. It really doesn't matter. And that's the thing, soybeans. And like we just grow them and grow them and grow them at such large scale. There would never be any incentive to champion the small farmer in the system that we have.
Yeah.
Like it sucks because that is, the backbone of America and what we should get back to relying on if we were actually smart about, producing good food and keeping it local. Like that's the thing is like we should just make it here and keep it here.
Yeah. This is actually something that I was doing a little bit more research into with the like getting to the advanced level of a type 1 civilization where like we grow so much
Oh
that
yeah,
like we have fields that take up entire countries like
right.
we need to like scale it up that big like
And then we have supply chain things where it's like, oh, it was grown in Argentina, but then it was packaged in Mexico and it's sold in American cafeterias.
yeah, I mean I drink Brazilian coffee that from a Mexican coffee company.
Right. What the hell?
Yeah, seriously, like it's a Mexican coffee company but I buy their Brazilian blend.
So we can transition into talking about food a little more happily. You want to do that?
Yeah, and we'll go directly into the note that I wanted because again, I we didn't really wax about this too much
Yeah, we didn't.
off camera, but really the thing is like you're a chef. I mean, you are 100%. I work in the service industry at like I moonlight in the service industry, and
Yep.
but the thing is like the note that I was making is that like you and I have been working in food service for so like you got your first restaurant job before I did, even when we were still in high school.
Yeah.
And so again, we've been like it. I guess it's sort of a working class person
Right.
thing. Is like food
Right.
service is something that we've been in, and like I've done everything in food service. Like
Yep.
I
Right.
remember cutting a pig for a luau.
Yeah. I prepared 65 lobster tails the other day, so
Yeah, exactly. So
it
again,
was crazy. Yeah, no, and I actually was having this conversation with my roommate the other day because he's a barber, and it's barbering and chefing is somewhat similar in that it's like kind of like blue collar work, but there's craftsmanship to it and a somewhat a level of artistry. But
yeah,
we're not artists, so
yeah. I mean, I would consider it more like again, like crafts. I would consider chefs to be like craftsmen.
yeah,
Historians technically are supposed to be craftsmen as well. But yeah,
I would think of a historian as a scholar, but we should talk about that another
yeah.
time.
Let's not do
Um,
that.
right. And so I will also say you're right in that like I've been doing it forever. And so that's the funny thing is like I've been doing back of house for 3 years now.
Yeah,
And I have, 10 plus years at front of house experience.
yeah,
And I think so. And it often, like the other day, someone asked me if I went to culinary school. And like, I just think that my background in front of house has prepared me so well to like be the type of back of house uh, employee
yeah.
that is more rare because, yeah, that's my thing. Is like everyone in the back of house has bad attitude. And I just don't get it.
I kind of feel like, and this is another thing that like we've talked about before, is like you can tell when somebody's worked like years in the service industry because again, I
Yeah.
was pretty green when
Oh
I
yeah.
got hired by the keg, and like you had literally been spent years at that point working food service, and that was my really. I mean, I had worked at like Dairy Queen and a couple other like random jobs
Right.
like that, but the keg was like my first real food service job, and I was like 20 years old when I started there. So yeah.
No, and my first one was at the landing as a dishwasher when I was 16. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
couple years, couple years.
But yeah, so I was again uh pretty green compared to you, and you have it's crazy that like you're back to it like because after
Yeah.
all this time and you went to back of house like you made that decision like you're like I want to do
Yeah.
this and you're
Well,
doing
and
it.
And my resume is like eclectic and like, but it's still strong. Like I worked at Wells Fargo for 5 years, and
Yeah.
then I was a teacher for 3 years. So like I have a lot of resume credentials.
Yeah.
And so like really it's about how I want to put my resume together. Um, so
Yeah, with that like varied of work experience, because again, I actually have a resume that just has it that's just for teaching.
right.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah. So again, we both have a long experience in food service, and I I like I love running buffets, which is weird, uh,
Right.
but
Because
like
I like plated dinners more than I like buffets. But
yeah, exactly. Well, that's also the other thing is like especially like front of house like if I have to run like 8 plated dinners to four tops, that's 32 plates that I have to run individually. So yeah,
yeah, I
I
understand.
would I would rather like operate a buffet front of house. Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot, I feel like.
Yeah. Like banquets though, like that's what they'll do. They'll be like you pour the wine and you serve their entrees. And it's again,
So
it's like 4 8 tops. So yeah.
the biggest event I served was a gala and it was 2,600 people. And
Yeah.
even that's what I'm saying is like
Well,
that is poor management. If you're serving 32 people, that's
uh,
bad management.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right. The
20. I think a server should be able to handle 20 people.
when I said it, or when they gave them to us, I was like, these sections are kind of big. And they were like, don't worry, the service is super easy. And they were right. Like all I had to do was
And
pour
if you have a
wine.
lot of people, yeah.
All I had to do was pour wine,
Right.
go around the table and ask red or white,
Yeah.
and then serve their entrees. It really
Yep.
wasn't very hard. Yeah.
Right. I've done the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. The sections, you're right. The sections were kind of big, but it was manageable.
Well, I'll say one thing I really like about the place that I've been working most lately, which is the Carnegie Art Museum, is they do synchronized military service, and so you literally only get to carry one plate per hand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
so that's awesome.
yeah, I love sync service. That's a whole different
Yeah,
thing. That's pretty awesome. We didn't really
yeah,
talk
it
about
is.
that, and like, there's not really anything else to say. Like, it's awesome. I just like
Yeah,
to do it. Yeah.
yeah. So, and what I'll say also is working the back of house, plating that up is like the best. And then the
Yeah.
last thing I'll say is I worked that scallop station the other night, and it is like performative cooking. And
Yeah.
it's like my favorite thing to do on the planet. Like, I just love being able to interact with guests while also cooking.
Yeah. I said it before, but I'll say it again. Like the coolest thing I ever got to do was a whole pig. They literally were like, "Can you cut a pig?" I was like, "I never have, but I could probably figure it out."
Right.
And
Yeah.
people would just come up and I'd just like cut off some pork for them. It was crazy. It was awesome.
That is awesome.
Performative cooking though, like yeah.
Yeah. I've run a carving station too before. So
Yeah, you're right. It was a carving station. Yeah.
yeah, I've done that. Yeah. The scallop station was next level and awesome.
That's
I was
the
using edible flowers, dude.
yeah, and the plating and all that, that was crazy. Yeah, not the same.
So that's funny because the next note is fast food guilty pleasures, but the one after that is fancy foods. So yeah. Um,
Do you want to talk about fancy foods first?
yeah, I mean, let's just do that. And so that's the cool thing about our shitty capitalism version of food is that like we get to go to that. I went to a nice restaurant yesterday because it was Father's Day, and I was like, I'm going to have sushi.
And I
And I
went
did
to
that.
I went to a food bank today.
Right.
Today. So also what's cool, I'm literally like they're thawed right now and I'm gonna cook them after this. I literally have beef short ribs
Yeah.
that I got
Nice.
from the food bank that I'm going to cook. So,
Oh, good.
Master Chef, I wanted to ask you. So I should sear them and finish them in the oven, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get too far into it, but that's all I was saying. Yeah.
The only thing about short ribs is they take a little bit longer. So if there's a way for you to do them low and slow, then do
Yep.
that.
That's what I was saying. Like I'll sear them and finish them in the
Yep.
oven for like 40 minutes.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying is like fancy foods. Like as far as meats go, the short rib is almost as fancy as it gets. Lobster is pretty fancy, but yeah.
Dude, that was the thing is we had a surf and turf wedding the other day, and so we prepared over 200. Yeah, it was 250 lobster tails, and each one had a fillet to go with it.
Oh, you're killing me, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Dude, it
Yeah.
was it was and that's what I was thinking, and someone asked me what I thought it was, and it was probably 125 to $150 per person for the wedding, if you think about it, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. So
Yeah. That is. I mean, yeah, your company probably offers packages and things like that. Yeah.
yeah, so that was probably like a $50,000 wedding.
Yeah. So before
Talk about fancy.
fancy food, have you ever had a beef Wellington?
We no technically, but we serve a beef Wellington hors d'oeuvre. It's like
Yeah.
a little mini beef Wellington.
Oh,
Tho-
I bet are they awesome?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, that's
Right.
cool. But still, I want
So
to try
yeah.
a traditional beef. I really want to try a traditional beef
Well,
Wellington.
I want to make one, so
Yeah, I want one with prosciutto and yeah.
yeah. So anyways, I have never had one, but I want to make one. The fast food guilty pleasures. I mean, really, I mean, In and Out, I'll give you because anytime I land in a West Coast city,
Yeah.
I immediately go to In and Out. So there's that.
It's kind of cliche almost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Bourdain did a segment on it. It's in Californication like all the time.
And
Uh,
isn't there like four of them in Vegas? Like, yeah.
I know there's one like right when you land off the air. It's right next to UNLV.
Well, I know there's at least two, is what I'm saying. I think there might be three or four.
I can think of
Just
three.
Vegas.
I can think of three in Phoenix.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah, again, I can think of three in Phoenix, and there might be more.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yeah, I live 10 minutes from one, literally.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome, actually. Yeah.
I'd eat In and Out way too much if I lived in Havasu or Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm just kind of broke right now, but yeah, I I enjoy. Yeah, no, it is one of hold on, that's my dog. One of the only redeeming qualities of Phoenix.
Right, In and Out, plethora.
Yeah. So again, Pizza Hut is so hold on. Zoe. Again, Pizza Hut kind of it's like a throwback to the childhood also is that like
Right.
I feel like Pizza Hut in the 90s was just better.
Yeah, and like the sit down restaurant that Pizza Hut used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
right.
the thing is, I will say they have some awesome I really enjoy their wings. I will say that.
I guess I'll have to try them.
If you like wings, oh, and especially hot, dude, get the burning hot and like burning hot buffalo. That will, yeah. If you like hot stuff, hot wings, those are good.
No, I do. I like the hot stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
eat
still have,
spicy. Yeah, I eat spicy ramen like every day.
I think I'm gonna open that bulldog hot sauce that you sent me. Actually,
Yeah, so we actually need we need to do that episode with the bulldog and the devil spit.
yep, yeah, I
Yeah,
still got both of those.
dude, they're so good. So
Yeah,
that's funny. That's funny
I
that we're still talking about food. So
I got wings in the freezer. I always do.
oh yeah, so then we can do it. I just need to go buy some wings. All right then, I'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said.
Knowledge is power.